We decided that we would try and create a neurodiverse panel at VidCon. They're putting the mental health panel on the same time as the neurodiversity panel.
Like, I want this to go well. It can only go well if we're not just like talking to each other.
An Avengers Assemble kind of moment where the right people come together at the right moment and we can do the first panel.
Okay, so this was actually Daniel's idea. The panel was something that he brought up to me. He's like, hey, you know, it was great that there was a disability panel, but I feel like neurodiversity is something that's big enough. There's enough people coming here that we need a panel specifically for that.
Something everyone has to deal with on a day-to-day basis, whether it be direct having it or indirect working with people who are on the spectrum. It's 1 in 100 in the UK, 1 in 60 here in the USA. So everyone is affiliated with someone in their life who has it. So when you get something like this, which is the first of its kind, the first neurodiversity panel, there's that sense of why has it taken it so long? And then, but at the same time, this is also like an Avengers Assemble kind of moment where the right people come together at the right moment and we can do the first panel.
One of the things I noticed about being at VidCon the year before is that there was no real representation of autism or like ADHD properly on like a platform that was just completely just about that. All of the disability panelists had like, you know, it was all physical disabilities, and I think there was a mental health panel, I think, my friend Jess from How to ADHD did some stuff on, but like, you know, it was nothing that was really compelling for autism, especially when like 1 in 60 kids in the US have an autism spectrum diagnosis. So I decided to just put this idea to Jess and be like, hey, like maybe we could create an autism panel. Like, what about this?
And so he just kind of planted the seed in my mind, and then that night I saw Hank Green at the Patreon party, and I walked up to him in Liquid Courage and all, and I walked up to him and I was like, I want a panel on neurodiversity next year. And he goes, okay, well, you find the creators? And I was like, yeah, and I'll moderate it. And he was like, okay. So it's something that I made happen, but it's something that I wouldn't have been brave enough to make happen if Daniel hadn't suggested it.
Okay guys, so we're in the hotel now, and basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to schedule out every single thing. So when you're doing an event like VidCon, or you're doing any kind of speaking event, or you're doing it like a traveling event, you have to stay on track. Now, this is a big deal for us. So from the day of the conception of the whole thing, we had to stay on track with everything, and we knew that when we were out here in LA, we needed to make sure that we would have something to keep us all on track. So Alex has been working on a schedule for me, and we'll go and check in a minute, see how he's doing. But yeah, he's been working on a schedule for me for the app Timo, which we're using, and actually the link for Timo is in the description below, because I know you guys are interested. The last time I mentioned it, and I think it's going to be really beneficial, because we're actually putting it to the test in this video to see how it's going to work out, and see, you know, how it works out. But yeah, there's I'm going to go check in with Alex and see where he is. Alex, what are you doing?
Making your schedule for the week.
How are we doing? How's it going?
I'm glad you asked. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm just about to add Dan's medication time into this, because he always forgets it. Too excited after the shower, after the breakfast, and he gets ready to go. He's like, let's get out the door. And we're like, buddy, we've still got more things to do. So I'm just adding in a medication alert onto his watch, and this should load, but the Wi-Fi is slow. Boom. I'm going to put that in here. I'm going to take your medication. And let's go with CBD. Yummy. And that's going to be, what's the date?
The 8th, 9th of July?
No, this is for tomorrow, so it'll be the 10th.
Oh, 10th of July. So
I'm going to put the date, and I'm going to put the time is going to be 8:45. I'm just going to put it into 8:50 because you're going to do it straight away anyway. And we're going to repeat that every single day. Got his lunchtime sorted out. We've got the interview with CNN sorted out. We've got the check-in in advance for the talk, all of that stuff. Now I use this to make sure Dan is on track. I can keep it updated from my phone or my laptop, and all Dan gets is just a to his watch. And then when that's happened, he knows to do it. I can edit his schedule. If something changes, I can do it on my phone and it'll beep to him. You get this nifty little sound effect when it's done. It's all, what's the word? It's like when Candy Crush does things. It's
fluid, man.
It's that fluid sound, like, it feels like you've accomplished things. It's gamifying his schedule, which keeps him more interested in it. So that's why we use this app, and it's working so far.
good morning, everybody. What's going on? Me and Alex here today. It's a beautiful day here.
I am super tired. It's all I've got.
And technically, well, there's the anxiety of like going up to Hank Green and asking for anything. Then there was like the few months wait of like, I wonder if he forgot, and I hope this is still happening.
So we decided to just really kind of keep pressure on VidCon, try and do that, and then all of a sudden they said, hey, yeah, let's go for it. Let's do the panel.
And then I had to get invited back to VidCon, and so when that happened, I was relieved. And I sent out an email saying, "Hey, is this something that we can still do?" And then it was, you know, the waiting game for that. And so it was just like a lot of back and forth. But finally, they were like, "Yes, you can have your panel." And then it was just it was like, "Okay, great. Oh shoot, this is a big responsibility. Who do I put on this panel?" And yeah, that was figuring out who to put on it was probably the hardest part because there are so many neurodiverse creators, and it was a really big deal for me to find the right match for the panel. You know, I wanted there to be diversity of experience, diversity of, you know, skin color. I wanted there to be as much diversity as possible, but I had like 4 people to do it with, and Daniel was already one of them. So I was like, okay, who else can we get?
Found a bunch of creators,
but we ended up with a really good set of people, I think. So
Jarvis Johnson,
12 Tone, we had Daniel, of course, and then I got Katie Morton to sit in as like a professional.
It was just a great idea to just have this thing there now, and they were going to do it. So we got everything packed. First thing we need to do was get ourselves to the USA on time for this event and pick up our passes and get all that stuff done. So me and Alex, we planned our whole trip to get to America, you know, and this is quite distressing. You think about it, like you're traveling halfway across the world with an autism spectrum condition. It's not the easiest thing ever. So I have to travel with Alex, and Alex Watts, you guys know, Alex has to come over to me to pick me up, and then we get on a plane and we go to America, and he takes care of all my logistics because it's a nightmare. And people might say, hey Dan, why are you even doing this? Like if it's so difficult, why are you doing it? And I do it because I feel like there's a need for it. If I can prove to people that, and spread a message and prove to people that I can do something, that they may be encouraged and empowered to do something amazing themselves, and I just love that. Okay guys, so this is the day we're heading down to the Regency Hotel, or the Hyatt Regency, so we can actually get a shuttle bus to VidCon, and whilst in VidCon, they'll put us in the back, and then when we're there, we're going to do the panel talk, and we're going to do an interview with CNN. So CNN heard about the panel that we were doing, all about neurodiversity and inclusion online, and they were really interested to know more about it. So I'm actually going to head there after the talk and talk to CNN about it. It's going to be super awesome. So yeah, we're going to get on with it. Okay, so we just got here. We got the shuttle bus here actually, which is super convenient because like it just like whizzes you around the convention center, gets you right to the door, which is what we really needed. So now we need to go in and try and find a panel room, find the lounges, get some tea. It's gonna be terrible, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, we're gonna. I've got to go through security first. Okay, so we're actually in the convention center right now. We went and just did a photo shoot with FameBit. As you've seen, some B-roll from that photo shoot was super awesome. My hair is now just on fleek. So we're gonna go to the Instagram lounge, see if we can get some free swag, and then we're actually gonna just hang out. And we just seen Jarvis, who's also on the panel with us, and Jess from How to ADHD. So yeah, no, I just so all right, here we go. We're in the Instagram lounge. That's a cool look, man.
Actually,
Jess, we just bumped into Jarvis.
What?
We just bumped into Jarvis outside. He was
yeah.
just like, no way. I went to ask him. I was like, excuse me, sir. And he's like, I know you. I was like, oh shoot.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
That's
anyway,
so cool.
Yeah, it's good.
What are you filming for?
I am filming for a feature on the whole thing
right.
about how we got to this point, like
That's
how
so cool.
what we did, the idea,
Neurodiversity
the idea, how we planned it, or the fact. We're actually not just hanging out, just checking out different lounges and stuff. But one thing that's very interesting and very important is that there's actually a mental health a panel talk today with some really big YouTubers on it. It's on the exact same time as our neurodiversity panel, which is weird because they're the same kind of like genre. So I'm really worried about it. I don't know what's going to happen, and you know, it's something that we're going to have to think about. But yeah, it's not worrying me.
So one day I open up Twitter and I see this tweet from one of my viewers who's like, hey, VidCon, do you think that maybe the mental health panel and the neurodiversity panel could not be at the exact same time on the exact same day? And I was like, oh no, because the mental health panel was all these big creators, including Hannah Hart, who I had originally hoped would be on our panel. But it was on the main stage. So this was going to be a big one, and ours was going to be in a little room. So I was like,
what on earth is going on here? You know, like, why put a bunch of really famous YouTubers on a mental health, which is a huge topic? Why put them on a panel at the same time that we're doing a neurodiverse panel, which is the first year for it, like we've never seen before?
You know, who's going to come to our panel? I had no idea if anybody was going to show up, because anybody interested in this would also be interested in mental health, and then that was the bigger, you know, the bigger YouTubers, the bigger stage, the more exciting atmosphere.
You do plan for the worst and hope for the best. So we were always, to an extent, thinking if we get there and they've cancelled our panel, do we do a rush meetup? You know, it was always going to happen, whether it be a VidCon hosted thing, or we just fly out there and we book a space and bring people out ourselves and just announce it, like, hey, come to our panel, we want to talk about this.
This really kind of put the wind up me, and I kind of felt like it's going to be a bust. Nobody's going to turn up. Nothing's going to happen. I was like, this is it, man. You know, it's going to look terrible, because you got to think, the response from this panel could justify having or not having another one next year and continuing this neurodiversity panel that we are trying to put together. Now, this scared me. I was thinking, goodness me, no one's going to turn up. This is it. It's over with. It's just done. No one's going to turn up. It's going to be terrible. It's going to look crap. And the creator of VidCon is going to be like, that was a waste of time and money, and I'm not doing it again. Okay, so we're sitting down at our desk, like there's a designated area. One of the things is that like I've been using Timo all day to know where I'm going to be at what time. So Alex has been putting all the stuff in for Timo, which you saw earlier when we were like actually inputting all the Timo data. So what it does is that it pops up on my Apple Watch and it's telling me, hey, remember to do this, and it tells you how long the like event or the item is for, and then when it's going to end, and when it's getting close to the end. Amazing. So without Timo on my Apple Watch, I would just be completely lost all day. So we're actually right now waiting to be taken over to the other part of the show. So yeah, buckle up. Backstage on our way to the panel talk. It's cool. The crew, the guys. Where's Jarvis? But then we get to the event and we're about to go on, and Alex goes ahead to warm up the crowd.
I was a hype man, baby. Like there's that sense of trepidation beforehand. You're like, are people going to be there? Are they going to be in the room? Are they going to be excited? Are they just waiting for the next panel afterwards? They just want to get a good seat. You don't know, so you always want to get a flavor. You want to get a taste of how it is. And for me, live entertainer for years, so like I love an audience. So when it came to this moment, I just wanted to jump up on stage and get a feel for it. So I got out, introduced myself, tried to sort of get people excited, get them amped up, get them excited for it, let them know it's the first thing that's happening, that they're part of the history of VidCon, they're part of the history of this movement we're working on.
Then he comes back and said, the room's full. It's a big room and it's full of people. It's absolutely full. And I'd never felt so nervous and excited in my life than this moment. And we're all backstage kind of just like prepping and chilling out, and I'm trying to drink some cold water to chill out, and then we go on stage and
one big wave for everyone to bring out our
dramatic wave. We were just confronted by an entire full room of people who were just absolutely in love with this fact that we'd done this panel and we'd done this for them, and it was just an amazing thing to see. So the panel went really, really well, and then afterwards we kind of come off stage and we met with all of the fans on like an off-the-cuff meet and greet there and then on the shop floor basically, and it was amazing. The feedback was fantastic, and we had so many good reviews and people saying how they loved it and how it was something that they needed and they wanted to see again and again.
Having ADHD myself, a lot of what people were saying, being not completely neurotypical, like made sense. Like it helped me to kind of understand myself a little better, because it's like one person said, hey, you don't have to have a normal sleep schedule, and I've always had trouble sleeping since I was a child, you know, and then with medication it makes it even worse. So that helped out a lot. They're like, yeah, if your sleep schedule works with your work, then just do what you need to do. Yeah, I benefited a lot from it because it kind of helped me to understand myself a lot more, and then everyone kind of talking about it and normalizing and saying like, there's nothing wrong with you, you're just you gotta find the strategies that work for you.
Would you like to see one next year again?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I would love to even just seeing more content on it in general would be amazing. Because I love that kind of content.
Take it easy. Yeah.
What it did do was start a conversation, and we were able to share our perspectives and able to communicate those perspectives in a way that people could hear. And there was a mom that came up to me afterward who started crying because she said that she had 2 kids. They were diagnosed with ADHD and ASD. And she started crying because she said that this really helped her understand that they were going to be okay, and also just different perspectives that helped her understand her kids better. So that to me is the real marker of success, was this useful to somebody? And it was.
Now, I believe that this was a great opportunity for us as influencers to influence people about autism and ADHD and mental health in general at a big convention like VidCon. And going forward in the future, I think that we could definitely see, and I think we're going to see more of this type of thing happening in the future. And we can use this influence to go to places like Playlist Live in Orlando and VidCon in the UK to say, hey, why don't we put this panel together and do the same type of thing here? And I think it's a great move. It was an amazing experience, and I think that everybody benefited from this in more ways than you could even possibly imagine.
Jarvis Johnson had a great metaphor about how a lot of times having a neurodivergent brain is like having different gravity than everybody else. Like you're kind of being weighed down by this force that you're not even aware of, and you don't know that it's different for other people until you start talking about it. And if we're not talking about it, nobody knows why it's so hard to move in this atmosphere. I want this panel to happen again, and I want there to be a couple more people on the panel. I'd like for this to become something that ends up on the main stage, and I think that it can happen if we tweet at VidCon, if we write to VidCon, if we in our surveys are like, hey, this was a cool panel, or oh man, I didn't realize this panel was happening, I would have loved to see it. If we communicate that to them, then I think that it can grow. This was our first year and it was already a full room, so we'll see where it goes from here.
Okay guys, we're all done with the event. We are going to go back to the hotel, debrief, and it's all crazy here, so we're going to go.